Good evening and welcome to a joint planning and development subcommittee town council meeting. It's Monday, May 12th, 2025 at 6:03 p.m. We're in the Veterans Meeting Room. It is possible a quorum of the town council may be present and discuss the agenda items, but voting rights shall be limited to subcommittee members in attendance. Call to order. Councilor Kelly is excused. Councilor Marquetti is excused. Citizen Bernadone is excused. Citizen LaRochelle?
Here.
Councilor Lazo,
Present.
filling in, Chairman Lazo, and I'm here as well, so we do have a quorum. Okay, item number 3, review, discuss, the town manager is here as well. Item 3, review, discuss the town manager's appointment of Bonnie McDonald to the Conservation Commission effective immediately through June 30, 2027, pending state ethics. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the town council.
Second.
Very good, Mr. Manager.
So, Mrs. McDonald moved to town several years ago. She's a resident on Pleasant Street. She expressed interest in several boards, Economic, Zoning Board of Appeals, and Conservation Commission. I set up an appointment with her to come in and speak to me. We talked about the variety of boards and what her interest was. She expressed a strong interest in the Conservation Commission. And we did have an opening on the Conservation Commission. She has several colleagues that have served on Conservation Commissions and currently serve in different towns. And she's, discussed this position with them. She felt she's a local real estate agent. Had a great conversation with her, even though she lives on Pleasant Street, as she is not part of the Pleasant Hills issues that are up there. I think she'd bring a good balance with her experience and recommended approval.
Very good. Comments at the table? Is anyone out there? Very good. All those in favor? No one opposed? 3-0. Unanimous of all present. Item number 4, review, discuss a community development block grant funded housing rehabilitation deferred payment loan contract between the town and the property owners in the amount of $94,800 with $85,500 for de-letting and repairs and $9,300 for roofing. And approve that the town enter into the agreement and allow the town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the town council.
So moved.
Second.
Very good.
The contract is attached. This is another one of those properties through the CDBG. We're grateful that we're having these properties get back on good standing, and just leads to better housing values, and we're able to help assist.
Very good. Ms.
Is
LaRochelle.
this just one person with all these properties? Is this different properties? This is what I'm confused about.
What's that?
Is this the pay down?
That's the pay down, yes.
Oh, okay.
By year.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just a quick comment, because I was involved in one of the rehabs. I had a call by a resident. I'd just like to commend Peg's office on handling everything to do with this one job. It was very professional, done on our end, and she's very happy, by the way.
All credit to Sue Starkey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else at the table? Council Shania.
Isn't that a lot of money for just an individual home that we're giving?
I don't know.
So we allow up to $50,000 per unit, plus if there's de-letting or asbestos, we're allowed to go over that amount. And then if there's 2 units, we're allowed to go up to $50 per unit.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else out there? Very good. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 5, review, discuss, A, authorize the town to acquire by purchase, gift, eminent domain, or otherwise, the fee to and/or permanent and/or temporary easements for public way purposes, including without limitation, for the construction, alteration, installation, maintenance, improvement, repair, replacement, and/or relocation of rights-of-way, bridges, sidewalks, drainage, utilities, driveways, guardrails, slopes, grading, rounding, landscaping, and other accoutrements and/or facilities to enable the town to undertake the Central Street, Foster Street, Hook Street, and Hamilton Street reconstruction project, and for any and all purposes incidental or related thereto, in, on, and under certain parcels of land and land adjacent to and within 100 feet of said parcels. Said parcels shown more particularly on plans entitled Plan of Land in Southbridge, Massachusetts, revised through January 30, 2025, prepared by VHB Inc., as said plans may be amended and/or incorporated into an easement plan, and B, raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, and/or borrow the sum of $285,600 to fund the foregoing and any and all costs incidental or related thereto, including without limitation the cost of any land easement acquisitions, and further, C, authorize the town manager to enter into all agreements, including to execute an order of taking and to take any and all actions as may be necessary or appropriate to effectuate the foregoing purposes. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the town council.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Manager.
So obviously by reading that motion, you can tell that that was written by our attorney. So I just want to thank Peg, VHB, Greg Russell, in the offices. This is a huge project that will be going out to bid in June. So this, right,
June 21st.
June 21st will be published for bid. These are all the land takings that we have to take. On the spreadsheet that was attached, those are all the amounts that we have to have appraisals conducted on those. So all the appraisals were done. Those were the market values for the amount of land that we're taking. So each one individually totals. In 2023, for the FY23 capital budget, we had allocated $245,000. In the minutes, it comes up to tip construction phase and right-of-way ROW acquisition cost, Hook and Hamilton. So that was, we had put aside $245,000 at that time. Given the appraisals that were completed, we need an additional $40,600. We do have money in the capital stabilization account, so I'm recommending that we take the balance from the capital stabilization, so there's a transfer on another motion to do the transfer to fund this. So that will give us the opportunity to get this out to bid. And then the last piece on this whole project would be to allocate monies for the water portion that we're responsible for at a future council meeting before the end of the year.
Very good. Questions at the table? Citizen Marshall.
Was there a public hearing or something for the land taking?
What happens is a letter of intent goes out to each property owner, telling them they're going to be contacted by the appraiser. The appraisal will be completed on their property, then they will get a just compensation report, and then they'll have 30 days to review that. So it's all directed specifically to the property owner. The public hearing for the actual TIP project, yes. If we look back, we've had, over the years, we had TIP hearings. We had a 25% design public hearing, and then I think a 75% design public hearing, but these would have been some time ago.
Is this, how long ago, would that in
We
redevelopment?
We hired VHB in 2017 for this
No, I
project.
might have been on redevelopment at the time.
You might have been, yes. So
Okay.
the 25% design might have been around 2019, 2020.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the 75% design was probably around maybe 2023. Yeah, but I could look back and get you those
Well, that's okay,
dates.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, so everybody was in agreement with the amount of money that they would have received?
Whether they were in agreement or not, I haven't necessarily heard. There were some people who came back with questions. We had a lot of meetings and conference calls with Greg Russell, VHB, who was very accessible. We'd meet on site, we'd talk about the impact, and everyone generally accepted the terms, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All set? Okay. Council Shannon.
Through the check. So I'm gonna take it, we're not actually borrowing money.
No, we had put away free cash in '23.
So why would the document say about not borrowing $200 and something thousand? I read.
Well, that's the motion you have to do. It's raise, appropriate, transfer.
Oh, okay.
That's just language.
Could I get tonight's agenda with the paperwork with the list of
Yep.
land takings? Because
Should have been sent in your email. Did you not? Okay. No, I'll
half the time I get the invite with no, it's just like the,
Yeah.
I
It's
can
like
forward
the-
the invite with
Yeah.
the packet.
Yeah, what's
it's just like the we got a meeting Wednesday and I still didn't get the paperwork.
Okay. we'll follow up on that, but yes.
Okay, I
So
appreciate it. That's
some of them are, yes, they go all the way top of Central Street, top of Hamilton Street, Center of Hope. There's a whole bunch of properties that are in
Yeah, and if you could just think of who might be most impacted, people like 100 Central Street.
It's a Spanish store.
No, that would be on the other side of the street, 101. 100's got the.
Oh,
their-
the,
Light
yeah,
Nuclear
right,
Plaza.
the old Light Nuclear
Yeah.
building, yeah.
And it's only because they're being impacted on sort of all three sides.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the 100 Central Street, that area, 62 Central Street, that area.
And actually, the Spanish market is also getting a more substantial amount than others, because they too are being impacted on all three sides.
Everybody's in agreement? Nobody disagree?
Mhm.
Good.
Pretty much they all know the project's coming.
It's big.
Including Hamilton Street?
Hamilton Street.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Very good. All those in favor? No opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 6, review, discuss a transfer of $40,600 from fund number 0842 capital stabilization to project account number 64611 tip construction and acquisition cost right of way to fund the cost of the easements and property acquisition for the tip project. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the town council.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Manager?
This is just the transfer I alluded to before.
Very good. Any questions? All those in favor? No one opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item 7, review, discuss applying for the Massachusetts Downtown Initiative, MDI, grant to complete a parking study in the downtown and allow the town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the town council.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Manager?
This is another grant that Peg is pursuing. Obviously, we do know that there's a lot of parking that we need downtown. This would allow us to conduct a study with a grant, and I'll let Peg give any further information.
Questions at the table? Council Lazo?
I yield to Katie Kennedy.
Just a quick question, haven't we done these studies 100 times before?
Not since I've been in my role. There may have been for the 2017, the fiscal year 2017 block grant that did the Central Street parking lot over. They may have done a parking study in advance, but I think that parking lot was based on the urban renewal plan
Yes,
back
it
in
was.
2006, 2007. And so I'm not sure what was done in between there. There are traffic studies that are done that might be ringing a bell.
No, I really do believe I remember a lot of parking studies.
Okay.
I remember because we talked about the parking garage at one time,
Okay.
so.
But this also was interesting in light of a recent meeting we had. The Economic Development Commission invited Christina Johnson in, Hudson's Development Planning Director. Hudson is sort of 10 years ahead of where we will be with our redevelopment, with our revitalization. And what she says is, it's great we didn't go for the parking garage because they can cost up to $30,000 in maintenance per year. And that if we do this study, we might be surprised at how much already exists, that we don't need to necessarily build new parking lots, or we may have a lot more than we're used to walking to. We may not have pull-up parking in front of every building, but we probably have enough parking in the downtown. We just need to find it. So I think this will be valuable.
Thank you.
My question, Peg, when you say the downtown, where is that boundary start and stop?
I personally would use sort of the central core as my guide.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Does that include Elm Street? I'm sorry. Does that include Elm Street, like from Town Hall? down-
Town Hall to Main?
Yeah, and if it's not, I'll make sure. For
That's
sure.
okay.
Oh, yeah. And so I think I know what the priorities might be.
I mean, like when you go down Foster Street, there's a lot of buildings and different things that eventually something's gonna happen with them, but when you look at Hamilton, Foster, it's the core. I mean, to me, like Elm Street, we go up to the past Town Hall, that covers the core for me.
Yes, And it would be also in line with our urban renewal plan major amendment, which we're looking at, which we've brought down to the town hall and the fire station to make sure that those are priority economic development.
Nice.
Mr. Adams?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, I think that this isn't under La Rochelle. I think that there was a lot of discussion when it came to Central Plaza about the parking and the loss of, I think it was 4 or 5 parking spots through that whole process. But I do also know that they talked about it on Main Street as well, parking spots lost in there. And now you're talking, Chairman Lazo brought up a good point about Central and Hamilton. If you're going one way as well, on each side, you know, there's all that parking on one side of the road. So, you know, but it'll be interesting if this study comes back and says we don't need any more parking. Thank you, I just wanted to read that.
You know, depending on what the study says, I mean, if you have volume parking at a particular area, and then you have a one-way restaurant district, they're gonna be walking on that wide sidewalk on one side. Yeah, we're gonna lose parking, but that's why the study, I think, would show, okay, if we're gonna lose these, where can we expand and get more? If the answer's a parking garage, or tear down, or whatever we have to do, let's see what the study says.
Just to add to that, the pre-planning process, the fact is, if you get more retail establishments in the downtown area, or rebuilding one building and somebody purchased the other portion, that may add more parking that we'll need in the near future. So at least we'll be ahead of the ballgame on that.
One of the things we gotta watch out for is, the great education that I got in the younger days was when Capasso built apartments in the core. And there was a municipal parking lot which they put behind the building, which was supposed to be for the businesses and everything. And it started out as just a few certain parking spaces and walking traffic. And then all of a sudden, the whole half a parking lot's used for the apartment building. So we can watch that as we develop.
That was my question, exactly, Mr. Lazo. All the apartments that we have going in above all this retail, where are these people gonna park?
That has to come into consideration when you do this study. Because on mixed use, you'll end up with 3 apartments and a business, maybe 2 businesses, depending on how wide the building is. But the way they're built, that's the way they're built. They were always apartments over. You look at the building, take the Mexican restaurant. You have a Mexican restaurant, you have the nail shop, then you have the middle door that goes up to these 2 apartments. I mean, it's mixed use. When the study is done, we have to take that into consideration, that there's also some housing in the core. But we just can't do what Capasso did. I mean, put volume housing. It didn't work. They thought that the walking business was gonna produce the commerce, and it never did.
At least 2 vehicles per family,
History teaches us something all the time.
1.5.
1.5. Oh. I didn't know that.
That is correct, it's 1.5, according to the planning board. The planning board does consider that when they're doing site plan reviews or special permits. I am a big fan of getting a little away from the parking regulations. I feel like that holds back some opportunities for the town, but that's a planning board decision.
It's actually a council decision, because I'm thinking of a moratorium on all multifamily housing over 6 units being revitalized or built in Southbridge in the core area. Because if the core area is going to be a business district, it should be a business district. If it's going to be a housing district and we're not going to pay attention to the business, I haven't brought it up, but I'm thinking, let's put a moratorium on for 1 year for volume housing in the core. And then have the general government subcommittee go back to work on some of these regulations to curb this massive housing in a consolidated area, which we're running into, which is not good for Southbridge. But I'm open-minded on a lot of it. I just think there needs to be a discussion, not under pressure to hurry up. You know, we're feeling it. It reminds me of when we put the moratorium out in '85. They wanted to build 65 houses. A big boom was going on. And we put the brakes on to look at single-family housing in Southbridge. There was supposed to be 65 houses where the school is built. And we put a moratorium out, they stopped, they went away. It ended up being a landmark middle high school.
Same thing when we had the, across the street from Christie and Thompson, all that.
Right, they wanted to put a massive
Massive.
apartment complex where the recreation area is. So there is, maybe it's time to just look at the whole core again and see what we want to be when we grow up.
Mr. Manager?
No, I think also I would want to see, maybe if we could talk about a parking study in this downtown, is those parking regulations. Because if we have municipal parking, but okay, it's mixed use with residential, how do we manage that? Right? What are the regulations? We should have some regulations so you have businesses. So if you have 10 units in the Edwards block, who else is parking there? Do we institute, you have to get a permit from the town to be able to park there, anybody else? You know what I mean? I think that's something that we should maybe.
Regulation and
study.
enforcement, good idea.
Not that I want to over-regulate, but we don't know who's in that parking lot, what other possible residences around there, if there's a 6-family on Dresser Street, and they don't have, are there 6 families on Dresser Street? Maybe 4 families, maybe.
Or maybe.
Right, but whatever, right? If they don't have enough place in there, are they parking in that parking lot? Do you know what I mean? We've moved from that society of no car, one car to you may have 4 adults living in this one apartment that all have a car.
Right.
Now we have 4 cars at where we're putting that, and I think we're seeing that throughout the Hamilton Street area, all those congested areas, because.
This discussion came up
Yeah.
at the planning
But
board.
that's up to, yeah. For the
You know,
parking.
there are no more single car households.
Right, it's.
And then when
one,
you invite a
2,
friend over, now you're up to 3.
Yeah, so,
We need to look at that.
so, thank you. That's.
Anyone else? Very good. All those in favor? Unanimous of all present. Item number 8, review, discuss, and extension to the CDBG fiscal year 22-23 grant to December 31st, 2025, and allow the town manager to sign any related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to town council.
So move.
Second.
Thank you.
This is our regular request to extend these grants so that we can spend the money and make sure we account for it and we don't lose it, so. We're working hard to expend those monies.
Ms. Larochelle.
How long do you have to keep moving it?
It's at the discretion of the CDBG grantors. They have threatened us that if we don't button up our grants, we could jeopardize future funding. So, we try to do our best to try to move these along, but at the same time, we're not gonna risk not being able to spend down all the funds, exactly. And we've had a transition from staff. We had Katie build the housing rehab, and then Sue took it over, and so there was a whole learning curve for new staff. And so, Sue was actually very hopeful she could finish by June or September, but I asked for December just to play it safe.
Right. Thank you.
Very good. All those in favor? Unanimous of all present. Number 9, review, discuss the acceptance of National Grid's Municipal Energy Manager Grant for $39,144 per year for 2025, 2026, and 2027, and allow the town manager to sign any related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to town council.
So move.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
This is nice.
Right, this is combined with the other grant that we have received, so this will allow us to hire that position.
Very good.
We've had a prior meeting where they came in and explained that. So we're fortunate for these grants. I think it's a good opportunity, especially on the municipal side. We have a lot of grants, energy management grants. The school had an opportunity to do one recently, which was a lot of paperwork. So now hiring somebody on that can assist with that program and manage all the other energy savings grants that we have is a great opportunity for us because our staff is limited. So it's a great opportunity for us to do that.
Very
George.
good. Council Shannon.
Is this the same person that's gonna do the Mass Save?
The Mass Save funded the Community First Partnership grant, which was focused on residents. This is also a National Grid grant. This is focused on the municipality, the municipal school and public buildings, and we're combining the two. So it will be the same person hired for
Same
both
person
positions.
doing the Mass Save one and be doing the school, the municipal side of it?
Mhm.
Okay.
3 years at no cost to the town. Which
And once that position is, the funding is gone, the position is gone. Okay.
And we'll be coming to general code with a job description so that we can have that.
Anyone else? Very good. All those in favor? Unanimous of all present. Item number 10, review, discuss a contract extension for Mass Works grant to complete River Crane Street Phase 1 by December 31st, 2025. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the town council.
So,
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Obviously, this project's ongoing, we're in active phase, we just wanna make sure that we apply for extension so that we don't risk any funding opportunities, but we're in full swing in that program, so. And we're starting in phase 2 design completion for that, so.
Excellent. Any questions?
Well, this is
Okay,
gonna be
Shania.
the Hamilton to,
That's the Russell.
that's the Russell, the bridge. The next phase is from the bridge to Pleasant Street. So that's a design phase, we're in now 25% design phase.
We did the 25% to get the Mass Works grant, now we'll do the remainder, which is the 100%.
So this grant that we're asking to extend is the River Street, that's the,
Yeah.
Exactly, the first half.
so you're only asking to extend it till the end of the year. That project's gonna be completed, or we're gonna come back for half a dozen more extensions?
This project will be completed, I'm confident, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. But they've already done all the sewer lining and cameraing for up to $500,000. That work's done, and now they're ready to get to work with the good weather.
Any questions?
Is this the same contractor? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Same contractor from East Maine, so they're in a natural transition, finished up the.
Yeah, we'll be in that natural transition here, the complaints of traffic too.
Right.
tell them to get over it, they wanted their roads fixed.
But pretty much, I think their plan of action is they'll probably go major construction, like, they'll be transitioning from there June, July, then right into full construction to that. So I think their time is perfect, and hopefully we'll have it under bid.
So,
I can't say who would get the contract, but
right, but are we hoping to be able to start that job once River is done? Start the Pleasant Street side of it?
We're trying
Trying.
to line those up, yes.
Okay.
And again, if we could create a favorable condition for a more competitive bid from someone like AFM Amarillo, that would obviously work hugely in our favor.
Right,
because they're already mobilized.
Exactly.
Then it's gonna transition to mill and bridges.
That was gonna be an interesting one.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Unanimous of all present. Item number 11 is adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you for making it for this.
All those in favor? We are adjourned.
Half hour.